Welcome to the Beacon Encourage, powered by Beacon Life Church. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. This is Beacon Encourage, your weekly dose of courage.
A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are always delighted to come your way. I'm yours truly, Dr. M. The Design, and this is the Beacon Encourage, bringing a word of encouragement and inspiration your way every week. And what a joy and great delight. If you're meeting us for the first time, it would be great for you to take a moment and subscribe, touch the notification button here on our YouTube channel, so that all of our information is with you, and anytime we have some uploads, they come to you in real time. Today I'm so honored and blessed to have a dear friend of mine for the last many years who is going to speak to us today, and I know is going to be a blessing to you. This is Dr. Gift Kimonge. You are welcome, Dr. Gift Kimonge.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Pastor D.
Good.
For this opportunity.
Yes.
It's really an honor
Yes.
to give me this opportunity.
Wonderful.
I not take it for granted.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
We are so glad to have you at the Beacon Encourage, and we are going to start right at the beginning. I'm going to ask you to just take a moment and talk to us about yourself, because most of them are meeting you for the first time.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Gift Kimonge.
Yes.
Many people prefer calling me Dr. Gift.
Yes.
It is easy. It is basically easy because my other two names are very hard. The other two name is Kimonge, and,
Yes.
and the other one is Zombo.
Okay.
So many people prefer calling me Dr. Gift.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Gift was born in the coastal area
Okay.
of Mtwapa.
Okay.
You must have heard of Mtwapa.
Mtwapa, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is in the northwest.
Yes.
That's where I was born in Kilifi South,
Okay.
Sub-County.
Okay.
I grew up there. My primary school, high school was just in coast, basically in Kilifi.
Yes.
And high school I studied in Taita Taveta, Kenyatta High School.
Okay.
Taita Taveta.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that I went to Egerton University
Okay.
for my undergraduate.
Okay.
I was trained to be a teacher.
Okay.
I did Bachelor of Education, majoring in economics
Okay.
and business studies.
Okay.
Yeah, but I ventured into other things after that because
Okay.
I just taught very little.
Okay.
I ventured into other interests.
Okay.
My interest was really mostly in business,
Okay.
so I ended up studying CPA. So I studied
Okay.
up to CPA-K,
Okay.
and then I did MBA
Okay.
in finance,
Mm-hmm.
and finally PhD in finance. So
Okay.
basically, I moved from being a secondary school teacher because that's what I
Yes.
was trained to.
Mm.
But I moved to corporate world.
Yes.
So in terms of family,
Yes.
I'm married
Mm-hmm.
with two kids, two wonderful kids,
Okay.
a boy and a girl. A boy
Okay.
aged 13 years
Okay.
and a girl aged 10 years.
Okay.
I'm married to Beryl,
Yes.
a wonderful wife who
Yes.
has been very supportive.
Yes.
And professionally, I've been a banker
Yes.
for most of my time.
Okay.
I used to work for a multinational bank,
Okay.
I think for the last 15 years, from 2005
Okay.
to 2019. That's
Okay.
when I transitioned
Okay.
to other things.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Good. That's quite a profile. Heavy profile that you carry.
yeah,
And I'm glad at some point you have mentioned, I think we should make it clear that when you call you Dr. Gift, you are not a medical doctor dispensing medicine and giving injections,
yes.
but you are actually carrying a PhD in finance.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your journey on your finance training.
Okay, thank you, Pastor D.
Yes.
Finance has always been my thing.
Yes.
Though I would want to say that when I was in secondary school, I was not very good in mathematics.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
somehow I developed interest
Yes.
in finance,
Mm-hmm.
and my life, basically career, has been mostly about finance,
Okay.
accounting, a lot of quantitative a lot of quantitative work. So my PhD was in finance, basically, and it was a long journey. Understand a PhD in Kenya, especially in a public university.
Yes.
It is quite.
It takes some time.
It takes some time. It's not an easy work. I burned a lot of midnight oil.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically a journey,
Yes.
and it's a very humbling experience because in the process, it is not about the academic part of it, but you learn a lot of things in the process. And basically, I would say the PhD normally humbles you. It humbles you. You learn so much. Apart from the academics, you also learn so many other things.
Yes.
Which prepare you.
That's true.
To be a better person and also to be impactful in the society.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I pick up something else again, and congratulations on your PhD. But you've made a very strong highlight that you were trained in your undergraduate to actually be a secondary school teacher. And I'm sure you're not going to teach mathematics because, as you said, it was playing you otherwise.
Yes.
So it's interesting to see how a trained educator at secondary level is now transitioned into corporate business, banking, and all of that. I think it's a strong principle. I want you to talk a little bit on that to our viewers. The ability to be flexible and adjustable so that you don't have to do and to become what you've studied in school. You could have studied to do this or do that, but somehow life offers you something else for you to be flexible enough to take it up and run with it and excel in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And maybe let me just mention the fact that the reason why I love teaching, basically, but the reason why I didn't go for teaching, especially in secondary school, is because most of the time, what I was observing is once you get employed by TSC, most of the time they would post you to very remote places.
Yes.
And I found that very limiting in terms of career growth, and I had a very big dream.
Yes.
That's why I thought I need to do something else. So I didn't pursue that particular area. That's why I started studying accounting.
Yes.
And once I started studying CPA, it gave me an opportunity to transition to banking. Actually, after I started my CPA, and I was doing CPA and MBA at the same time, I got an opportunity to go and work for Standard Chartered Bank.
Those are quite some good brains, eh?
Yeah. Exactly. It was quite a sacrifice. Yeah, but there were a lot of synergies between the two courses because now my MBA was in finance. And then the CPA is basically finance and accounting. So there were a lot of synergies. Because of the fact that I had studied CPA, my MBA was quite manageable because the finance component was quite easy because most of the things are very transferable from CPA to MBA. So I was able to do them together. And I graduated actually same year with PhD, not PhD, with MBA. And MBA I graduated in July. CPAK I graduated in June.
Wow.
The same year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So that basically started my journey into corporate world. So I've been in banking, corporate banking, but before I became a corporate banker, I also worked in other departments within the bank. I worked in operations. I've also worked in finance. I've also worked in credit management. Before now I moved to corporate banking, where by the time I was leaving the bank, I was a senior manager in charge of in charge of process and governance. Yeah, but I would want to say that my experience at the bank was very, very immense, very, very useful, especially to what I'm doing currently. Basically, that experience prepared me for what I'm doing currently, especially in the area of consultancy. We have a consultancy firm. I'm also into many other areas. I wear many hats. I also teach in the university. I also do. I'm also a board member and a council member. Yeah. So basically, I've diversified a lot. But basically, that the diversification was not possible if I didn't get that experience, that wide experience that I got from the bank.
I hear you.
Yeah.
You sound to me like you're on your way to professorship.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where many doctors aspire to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I hear the consultancy coming on and what you're doing right now. Talk to us a little bit on how it has been during COVID, the last 2 years, lockdown, slowdown, work from home, and all of that. You've just stepped into your consultancy. How has that been working for you?
Just like everyone else, I
Yes.
would want to say that transition was not easy for me, especially moving from a paid employment
Oh, yes.
to self-employment. You know, in the banking sector, we were used to getting a paycheck around 24th, 25th
Yes.
of every month. So
Yes.
there's always money coming in which you
Yes.
can plan for.
Yes.
But now here in self-employment, it's a different ball game.
Yes.
It's a different ball game. The money does not come in such a predictable manner.
Yes.
There usually fluctuations. Sometimes you get a lot of it. Sometimes it goes down. So
Yeah.
it's always
It's
a
a curve.
fluctuation.
The curve is on.
It's a curve. So basically, that transition was not easy.
Yes.
But as I have mentioned earlier, I think diversification really helped me because I was not depending on only one income stream. So
Okay.
I would do part-timing here, part-time teaching here.
Okay.
I would also attend those board meetings
Yes.
and council meetings. So and also get a bit of money from consultancy.
Yes.
So basically, the diversification really helped.
Yes.
Yeah, but that transition was not very easy, especially because of the fact that COVID just came
Oh, yes.
when I had just started that transition, and the consultancy business was at infancy stage.
Yes.
So I didn't have many clients. I didn't have many jobs to do. So it was still at the marketing stage, at that particular setup stage.
Yes.
So COVID really had made quite a big impact, but we managed somehow.
Yes. Yes.
We tried to innovate also.
Yes. Yes.
It just flexibility really
That's true.
helped.
That's true.
Yeah, you
That's
just
true.
if you face a situation, you should be able to analyze it and make decisions. Look at options and
Yes.
decide on what to be done. But I would say that the transition has been generally smooth, and working from home, it was a good transition. It was very good in a way because of the fact that we were able to bond as a
Yes.
family,
Oh,
because
yes.
the kids were studying in the house.
Yes.
I was also doing my trainings
Yes.
and my meetings in the house. Maybe the only challenge is the challenge was resources, sharing
Yeah,
resources,
of
because
course.
all of you are using bundles.
Yes.
Are using Wi-Fi. So
Yes.
sometimes you find
Everyone in their corner.
you find some. I would maybe have my meetings in the bedroom.
Yes.
The children would have their classes in the
In the
dining
different spaces.
room. My wife would also have her
meetings,
things maybe
yes.
in the sitting room or in one of the bedrooms. So
Yes.
yeah, but it was a good experience because after we were all done with whatever we were doing, we
Yes.
had a good opportunity to bond, read the Word of God, do Bible study with the kids, watch some of these inspirational videos on YouTube. I would say that experience, that COVID time,
Yes.
was very helpful
Helpful.
for spiritual growth
Yes.
as a family,
Yes.
even including the kids. We have learned so much, so many things which we would not have learned
That's true.
if we didn't have that opportunity of being together during that almost 1 year. That is 2020. Yeah.
Great. I'm glad you talked about flexibility, you talk about innovation during your transition. You could probably talk to us about 2-3 things in terms of, because it's a major transition from the corporate world, banking especially as you know it, into this private consultancy and going back to lecturing at the uni. Could, in your own experience, you can probably highlight 2 or 3 of those major, what you would consider principles for a man in transition especially from one very settled like employment into the very unsettled business world?
Yeah, thank you very much, Pastor D.
Yes.
One thing which is very, very important is, I would say, flexibility. Flexibility. You should be flexible. You should be innovative.
Yes.
I would say that kind of life, the corporate world, where you have a predictable paycheck at the,
Yes.
at the end of the every month, I would say that is very limiting, because you are not able to think. Most of the time you are struggling with pressures of work,
Yes.
Deadlines, and most of the time you find that your mind is just thinking about work and family. So basically, but mostly because of the fact that you spend a lot of time at work, especially a typical banker in Kenya, you spend many hours at work. So sometimes you find even you don't even have enough time for family.
Yes.
And you don't have enough even time to think outside the box.
Yes.
But now being in such a situation, it enables you to, being in self-employment, it enables you to think about outside the box. You basically, when you are anywhere, you always think about the kind of things that you could do to make a difference in people's life, the kind of services that you could offer to people, because basically you, when you go out there, when you move around, you realize that there's a lot of things that you can do. And apart from the things that maybe you could do for money, there are also many opportunities to basically give to the community, like our youth.
Yes.
Our youth, basically, they really need a lot of mentorship. They really need a lot of mentorship.
That's true.
Because they are going through many challenges. A young man in the current age goes through a lot of challenges, as opposed to when you were growing up, maybe 20 years, 30 years ago.
That's true.
So I think this kind of situation has really helped me to give back, to do very impactful things.
Yes.
Not for money, but sometimes mostly
Social responsibility.
social responsibility.
Yes.
Like one of the things that I do is I like really mentoring the youth, because I find that the youth are really, they're going through a lot of distractions, a lot of challenges. So even when I go to teach in the university,
Yes.
I don't just teach.
Yes.
I don't do teaching in academics,
Yes.
but I also teach them life skills.
Yes. Life skills.
skills.
Yes.
I mentor them,
Yes.
because I ask myself, if I just teach them, mostly I teach finance and accounting.
Okay.
If I teach them finance and accounting, they may get A's
Yes.
in that particular course, but maybe they may not be able to fit in the society
Yes.
because of the challenges, many challenges in the society.
Yes.
They may not be productive. That knowledge that they get in the university may not be very productive. So I usually blend that with also teaching them about life skills.
Life
Like
skills.
if a student has likes coming late in class,
Yes.
I talk to them
Yes.
in a nice way. In the corporate world, you have, like a very good example. I will tell them now, if you have a habit of coming late to class and to meetings, into meetings, you normally create an impression, and that impression that you create, especially on the bosses, on your bosses, when you're out there in the corporate world, they will always get the impression that this person is not serious with life. This person is lazy, which may not be the case. So I teach them about managing perceptions. That is very, very important, especially in the corporate world, because if you
Managing perceptions.
very,
Wonderful.
very important in the corporate world. So basically, make sure that you do things which create right impression.
Yes.
Don't do things which will create a negative impression
Yes, sir.
about you, because they will basically hamper you in your career growth in the future. I also talk to them a lot about drugs. Some of the damages of basically drugs and some of those things, like spending a lot of time on social media.
Yes.
I talked to them about some of those challenges. So, and that is an area I'm also very passionate about, and I would want to say I've been very impactful in that area.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Someone says that the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're doing. In mentoring young people, you're really preparing them. You technically rule the world by preparing those that are going to rule the world.
Exactly.
Great. That's beautiful information to receive from you. Talk to us a little bit, given your passion for finance, your heavy training in finance, and now you're teaching still in that area. Talk to us about what you would consider to be key pivotal points in financial management. It could be personal, or it could be business finance, or even corporately. Just those 2, 3, 4 points that you think are major for one to understand in the proper management of finances.
Thank you very much for that opportunity.
Yes.
Maybe I'm going to mention a few, 3 or 4 principles which are very, very important in finance.
Yes.
And those principles are also applicable,
Yes.
either at personal level, at business level,
Yes.
at corporate level.
Yes.
They are applicable almost everywhere. Like another very good principle, a major fundamental principle in finance is that there is no such thing like free lunch.
Yes.
It's
No
usually
free
a
lunch.
phrase.
Yes.
Yeah, there is no such thing
As a free lunch.
free lunch.
Every shilling is labored for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So basically, this phrase is more of an economic phrase.
Yes.
Basically tells us that whatever resources
Yes.
or goods you might be enjoying, someone has paid for them. Someone must have paid for them.
Yes.
So basically, that principle tells us that we should be prudent
Yes.
in the management of
Finance.
resources.
Yes.
There are those resources which are provided by the government, like what we call them in economics, in public finance, we call them public goods,
Yes.
like roads, infrastructure. It is important that we have to appreciate the fact that the government
Yes.
has paid for those goods, what we
Yes.
call public goods, and
Yes.
in extension, the taxpayer, of course. It
Yes.
is basically the taxpayer who has paid for those goods.
Yes, sir.
So basically, we should use them in a responsible way.
Mm.
So I usually feel pained when I see people misusing some of the infrastructure that has been put for our own benefit. Like I can give you a good example. We have a very new road in our neighborhood,
Yes.
and every time in the morning when I pass that road, I see a lot of trash.
Yes.
There are very good drainages which
Yes.
have been done, but I see people putting trash, in
Yes.
those drainages.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really pains me. I think we should learn the culture of being responsible,
Yes.
and we have to understand that
Yes.
whatever goods or services we are enjoying, if we
Yes.
have not paid for them, let's understand that someone has paid for them. So
Yes.
we must use them in a prudent way.
So there's no free lunch.
There is nothing like
When
free
you
lunch.
eat it, no, somebody has paid for it.
Yeah, even
Yes.
in some of us when we were growing up,
Yes.
we used to think that food is always available,
Yes.
school fees is available, uniform is available, and
Yes.
sometimes we use some of those resources
Yes.
and we don't really appreciate. But
Yes.
once you become an adult, you appreciate the fact that
It was coming from somewhere.
it was coming from somewhere. So let's be responsible.
Yes,
If
true.
we are enjoying goods or services,
Yes.
let's enjoy them in a prudent way, and let's appreciate the fact that someone has really toiled
Wonderful.
to basically put those
Resources
goods,
together.
those resources together.
Yes.
Another important principle in finance is that we have to plan.
Yes.
In financial management, a very important component of financial management is budgeting,
Budgeting.
and
Yes.
financial planning.
Yes.
That is very important at personal or even corporate level.
Yes.
There's a scholar who said that if you do not plan, then you are planning to fail.
To fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is a very important concept in finance. You should always plan
Yes.
for our finances. Basically, planning is, or preparing a budget,
Yes.
is basically telling
Yes.
telling your money where to go.
Yes. That's
Instead of wondering
yes.
later on where the money went.
Yes.
You would rather tell the money where to go. So
when you're asking it where it went, you can't find it. It can't answer. You need to tell it where to go.
You need to tell it where to go.
Wonderful.
We need to learn to do budgeting.
Yes.
We need to forecast our cash flow requirements and our cash flow needs. So basically, we need to plan so that we don't wonder where the money went.
Yes.
That is a very, very important principle. Though many people struggle with it. Budgeting is not very easy.
It's a skill.
It's not very easy. It's a skill. It requires a lot of discipline.
Yes.
And it even another important principle related to that is there's this statement which says that a very small leak it can sink a very big ship.
That's true.
You have heard the story of Titanic.
Yes.
Titanic was a very, very big ship.
Yes.
But what really sank Titanic? What happened is Titanic went and hit
the iceberg.
And after it hit the iceberg, there were small leaks of water coming into the ship. And eventually, those small leaks became very, very big leaks, and eventually the ship sank. So in business, it is also the same thing.
Yes.
The moral of the story is let's manage those small costs.
Yes.
You should manage them very, very efficiently. Cost management
Yes.
is a very, very important component
Yes.
of financial management.
Yes.
In many businesses, you find that because of competition and maybe the economic environment, especially post-COVID, you find that growing the top line. The top line is basically the income or revenue.
Yes.
Growing the top line substantially sometimes may be a very difficult task.
Yes, sir.
And for an organization to remain afloat, then they should also manage costs very, very efficiently. Because for you to make profit is basically income minus expenses. So you need to manage expenses. Very, very important, because those small expenses, if you don't manage them, and they may even sink that organization. We have seen many organizations which have collapsed, especially post-COVID. And if you go deeper, you realize maybe they didn't have very good cost management practices. Maybe there was a lot of leakages, especially of both revenue, and also maybe what we call poor cost management practices. So for businesses and even for individuals, we should learn to manage our costs very, 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 very efficiently. That's very important. Yes, another important principle in finance is cash flow management.
Yes.
They say, in business, we normally say that cash is king.
Yes.
Yeah, cash is king.
Is king.
Yeah, when you have cash, then you are the king.
You rule.
Yeah, you rule. Cash is king. So as a business which has sufficient cash flow, we would say that that business is very, 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 very healthy. Because when you have sufficient cash flows, then you are able to take opportunities. You are able to take advantage of opportunities, business opportunities that come from time to time. Yes, but how do we manage cash flow?
Yes.
That's very important. That's a fundamental question.
Lecture. Loving this finance lecture.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Cash flow, the very good way of managing cash flow is you need to have a balance of your cash inflows and your cash outflows.
Yes.
Cash inflows mostly in a business comes from many sources, but what I see many businesses struggling with is management of inventory and also management of debtors. That's has been a big challenge for many businesses. And you know, inventory, that is stock. If you take too much stock, it holds up your capital. It holds up your capital, especially if that stock is not fast moving.
You're not liquid. You have the stock, but you don't have the money.
It holds up your capital. Same is inventory.
Yes.
Same is debtors,
Yes.
or what we call receivables.
Yes.
If you give your debtors many days to pay,
Yes.
like if you in Kenya, most of the sales are usually made on credit,
Yes.
and you find that business people, they would give their debtors up to maybe 90 days, 120 days to pay. And so basically, if you give your debtors many
A long
days
period.
to
Yes.
pay, that basically impacts your cash flow,
Yes.
because you have to wait for many days before you can convert your debtors
Yes.
into cash. And yet at the same time, you also need to pay your bills. You need to pay your creditors.
That's true.
You need to pay for VAT. You need to pay for tax. You need to pay for many other things.
Yes.
You need to pay for electricity. Yeah. So basically, you need to match. You need to do a proper matching. You don't give your creditors or your debtors
Yes.
too many days to pay.
Yes.
A very long period to pay. And if you have to do that, then make sure that you also negotiate for a long period to pay your creditors.
Yes.
That way you can match your debts, your debtors with your creditors, and that
Yes.
basically would enable you have sufficient operating cash flow.
Yes.
But when you have a mismatch
Yes.
where you are giving your customers 120 days to pay or 90 days to pay, and your creditors are only giving you maybe 30 days to pay,
Yes.
then you always find a
Becomes a
mismatch,
challenge. Yes.
a challenge, a mismatch of cash. You always find you're struggling with cash flow, and when you struggle with cash flow, you not have a very good relationship with your bankers.
Yes.
You not have a very good relationship with your suppliers.
Yes.
And you also not have a very good relationship with KRA.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and a lot of problems will always crop up. So I see many businesses struggling with basically managing their debtors and
Yes.
the creditors. That's a very important point.
Yes.
Another way in which you can manage your cash flow is
Yes.
it is important to invest.
Yes.
But when you invest,
Uh-huh.
don't put all your money in fixed assets.
Yes.
You know, fixed assets normally takes long. If you really need cash, you may not realize the cash very quickly. So you need to have what we call liquidity.
Yes.
You basically invest a portion of your assets in fixed assets, a portion of your investments in what we call current assets.
That's true.
And you need to have cash, what we call cash. You need to
Yes.
have also sufficient cash, and also invest in what we call cash and cash equivalents.
Yes.
These are assets which you can convert
Yes.
quickly into cash.
Yes.
Like what we call them marketable securities.
Yes.
These are you can easily convert them into cash. So you need to have a balance. Because if you invest most of your capital in fixed assets, then you will need cash very quickly. Sometimes
When you need it, you'll not be able to
you will
get
not
it.
be able to get it,
Yes.
and that may put you into a lot of strain. So
That's
that is
true.
also another
It
important.
reminds me of the story in Kenyan history. We know these chains of supermarkets,
Yes.
where there was one that had literally bought lands and buildings and built everywhere. They had an outlet,
Yes.
and they were they were troubled with liquidity. And
Yes.
there were the others that are renting out the buildings. They don't own any of the building,
Yeah.
and all they have to do is to pay the rent and manage their suppliers,
Yeah.
and they are thriving. So I think it's a very strong highlight
Very
you are making there. Yes.
very fundamental.
Yes.
Yes, and then the other point is, I would want to borrow this from Warren Buffett.
Yes.
A very fundamental point. If you make an investment,
Yes.
Warren Buffett gave us 2 rules. Rule number 1 is,
Yes.
if you make an investment,
Uh-huh.
make sure you don't lose money.
Yes.
And rule number 2 says that
Uh-huh.
you should not forget rule number 1.
Which is that in your investment,
Yeah,
don't lose money.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is also a very important
Yes.
principle, which I really like.
Mm.
I really like, which is very practical.
Mm.
And maybe the last one,
Yes.
not the least,
Yes.
but maybe the last one I want to say at this point is for you to become wealthy. You know,
Yes.
everyone would want to become wealthy.
Yes. Mm.
And for you to become wealthy, you need to have what we call, you need to make money
Yes.
while you sleep.
Yes.
Yeah, that is also borrowed from, I think, Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to make money
While you are asleep.
while you are asleep.
Mm.
what does that mean?
Yes.
You need to invest in what you call projects or investments which give you passive income.
Yes.
Passive income is that income that you get.
You don't have to be there.
You don't have to be there. You don't have
Yes.
to do much, but
Yes.
that income
will keep flowing.
will keep on flowing.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to become wealthy, you need to make sure that you also invest in investments which give you passive income.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's very, very important.
Oh boy, today we are talking finance, and what a lecture. I'm loving it. We are talking to Dr. Gift. I hope that you are enjoying it as I'm enjoying it. A lot of nuggets and insights on financial management and just being prudent. He's talked about cost management. He's talked about sealing all the leakages on your ship so that it doesn't sink. He's talked about many things. I hope that it's refreshing and empowering for you. Dr. Gift, as we begin to wind down, let me ask you, these are the last 2 weeks of 2021. We are stepping into 2022 in about 14 days. With your consultancy going, where do you see 2022? And those that may want to find you or be able to receive from your services, how do they find you?
Thank you, Pastor D.
Yes.
I'm very passionate on matters finance.
Yes.
And that's why we set up, it's basically a partnership.
Yes.
We set up a consultancy which basically concentrates a lot on matters finance.
Yes.
And a very important area of finance that we focus in is some of the things that I've been talking about.
Yes.
Financial advisory, which basically entails advising businesses,
Yes.
Especially entrepreneurs,
Yes.
on how they can improve their finances,
Yes.
like how they can improve their working capital, how
Yes.
they can basically get financing at a good and affordable
The rates.
rates. What is the best mix between debt and equity? Some of those questions.
Yes.
So basically, those are the areas that we handle. Basically, the starting point, of course, is to looking at the financials of that particular entity,
Yes.
and trying to find out ways in which the entity can improve and
Yes.
basically have what we call sustained profitability. So that's a very key area that we look at.
Yes.
The other area is basically bookkeeping.
Yes.
We offer bookkeeping services.
Okay.
Like you find that many entities are still in the startup stages. They do not have enough capital to enable them have a full-time accountant.
Yes.
And maybe even their records are not that many.
Yes.
So that cannot even justify having a full-time accountant. So basically, we would basically outsource that service to them.
Okay.
We just basically do the bookkeeping services to such entities who would want to outsource that service.
Yes.
Another area is basically audit and
Yes.
risk management. This is also a very important area which is very close
Yes.
to my heart. Many organizations struggle with risk. Many organizations are basically sitting on risks
Yes.
which they are not aware of.
Yes.
And when you are basically sitting on risks which you are not aware of, when that risk materializes and you have not mitigated against it, your business may
Yes.
collapse. So basically, we also give advice on
Yes.
risk management, financial risk management, operational risk,
Yes.
any kind of risks which may affect the business.
Yes. Sir.
And we offer basically solutions or strategies on how to manage some of those risks, but like coming up with what we call business continuity plans, disaster recovery plans. We even would also help organizations come up with important risk documents like risk register,
Yes.
risk framework, and many documents which are important for managing risks.
Wonderful.
That is also an area that we focus on. And then another area is basically training, corporate training
Yes.
and research. In this particular area, we would basically tailor-make. We
Okay.
tailor-make trainings according
Okay.
to the needs of an organization.
Organization, yes.
Yeah, and would basically go and offer those trainings to organizations. We train their staff
Okay.
on some of the key areas, the areas where they really need to be trained on. So basically, in a nutshell, those
I'm
are
sure
some
you
of
also
the areas.
do tax consulting, or is that out of your range?
Yes, tax consulting is also within our range.
Okay.
Within our range,
Okay.
tax consulting, VAT.
Mm.
Many people struggle with
Yes.
with the tax,
Yes.
management of their tax obligations,
Yes.
management of VAT,
Mm.
the input tax, output
Yes.
tax.
Yes.
We also offer trainings
Wonderful.
and mentorship
Wonderful.
on that particular
Wonderful.
area. So basically, those are a highlight of some of the services that we offer, but we are flexible because
Yes.
our services, we tailor them according to the
Yes, the
needs,
need of the
needs of
organization.
a customer. Needs of a
Wonderful.
customer.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we have a company
Mm.
which is actually, I would direct any prospective client who would want to get more information on that.
Yes.
They can visit
Okay.
www.tretracheck.co.ke.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll make sure our production team puts that on the screen here
Yes.
so that
And
it can be followed.
Yes.
Anybody that needs to get in touch with you can be able to find your details.
Exactly. And if they want to send an email, they can
Yes.
send it to tretracheck consultancy llp@gmail.com. It's a bit long.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
It's a bit long.
It will be running on the screen, so anybody who wants to get in touch with you can
Yes.
be able to get in touch with you.
Yes.
2 more questions and I'll let you go. Number 1, this is the Beacon Encourage, and we take time to give testimonies and stories of what special things the Lord has done in our lives. I know that there is a turning point in your life when the Lord did something that you know this could only be God in my life. Please share 1 or 2 of those with us, and then I'll come so you can talk to us a little bit about your family and how they engage in what you do, and then we wind out.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Pastor D. I would say the turning point in my life was when I left paid employment. That
Yes.
was a turning point in my life.
Yes. Mm.
And I would want to say that I left because of redundancy.
Yes.
And I didn't see it coming.
Yes.
I used to think that my job was very, very critical
Yes.
in that organization
Yes.
until I was given a notice
Yes.
of redundancy.
Wow.
I was not prepared.
Yes. Wow.
I would want to say, and one point I would want to tell my listeners is that
Yes.
you should always prepare.
Yes.
Prepare. You should also prepare for redundancy,
Yes.
because it can happen anytime.
Anytime.
You know that paycheck that you're used to.
Yes.
One day it may stop coming.
That's true.
So, of course, after the redundancy, one significant thing that changed
Yes.
is that message that normally comes on 25th of every month.
From the bank. They alert.
It stopped coming.
Wow.
Sasa hapo ndo nikajua sasa kumeumana.
Yes.
Yeah, so that I would say that was a turning point,
Yes.
and basically that's the reason why I now, luckily, I had to basically reinvent myself.
Yes.
Luckily, even when I was still in the bank, I had already started what we call serving in
Yes.
boards.
Yes.
In boards. So basically, at least I was in 1 or 2 boards by that particular time,
Yes.
and that with I also that helped me a bit to bridging the cash flows, and
Yes.
also now because of my PhD,
Yes.
I was able to start teaching in the university and also supervising students.
Yes.
That also was very, very helpful. It also gave another stream of cash flow,
Yes.
and also now the consultancy also was quite helpful.
Yes.
Though of course the income in the consultancy
Yes.
fluctuates.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
get a big
Yes.
payment this month,
Yes.
and then the next month
It's
that
different.
payment comes is maybe after 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what really helped me is diversification.
Yes.
I make sure that I have
Diversity.
I have several streams of income.
Wonderful.
If this one fails,
Yes.
the other one comes through.
Yes.
So basically, that involved a lot of creativity
Yes.
and innovations,
Yes.
and also looking for opportunities
Yes.
where you can give service,
Yes.
including. We have also done a bit of tendering business. We have supplies company also,
Yes.
which basically we offer basically what you call general supplies.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically you have to renovate yourself
That's true.
and be useful. You make sure you're
That's true.
useful. You identify a need
Yes.
and make sure you come up with a product or service
Yes,
to
that's
basically
a solution
meet
to
that need. That's the
Yes.
only way you can get paid. Yeah, so basically that
Remember, there's no free lunch.
there is no free lunch. There's no free lunch. So basically that was a turning point in my life.
Yes.
And COVID, of course, I really came and did a lot. But I would say one thing that I would say a very important testimony in my life is
Yes.
that I learned to trust in God.
Yes.
You know, when I was in the bank, that was not very practical.
Yes.
But when I was out of the bank and
Yes.
now, the ventures that I've been involved in, you can
Yes.
only succeed
Yes.
if you
Trust in
trust in God,
Yes, sir.
because there are a lot of challenges,
Yes.
a lot of up and down. But one thing I would want to say is that God has remained faithful,
Wonderful.
and God has always provided
Yes, sir.
at the first time, at the time when you need,
Yes.
at the time
At
of
the
need.
moment of need,
I
right
would
at
say
the moment
that
of need.
at the right time.
Yes.
That is a testimony for me.
Yes.
In the past, I used to hear
Yes.
people saying that, and I couldn't really
It
relate
really
with
makes
it.
sense, yes.
But it is a testimony in my life. The
Yes.
last 3 years,
Yes.
I would say that God provides
Yes.
just at the right time,
Amazing.
which
amazing,
is
amazing.
a very, very important testimony for me.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, the other question was about family.
Yes, I wanted to work because I know you are raising young children.
Yeah.
I know you and your wife, dear friends of ours, and my wife is a young family. And with what you're doing right now, I mean, you must have a lot of family support. How do you work with your wife? How do the babies fit in the picture? I mean, for that corporate family support.
Yes. Thank you. My family has been very supportive.
Wonderful.
First of all,
I know Beryl is always behind your back.
Yeah, Mary is always. She is my number one fan.
Yes, yes.
She's the person who really believes in me.
Wonderful,
She's
yes.
my number one fan, always encouraging me.
Yes.
Especially when I feel like I cannot do it.
Yes.
She really believes in me. She says
Yeah.
that. She tells me that you
Yes.
can do it.
Yes.
She gives me a lot of confidence,
Wonderful.
a lot of support. I
Yes.
even remember when I was studying for my PhD.
Yes.
She would. I used to really spend long hours, maybe up to 2 a.m.
Yes.
in the morning, doing maybe writing my thesis,
Oh, yes.
and she would stay right next to me, giving me moral support.
Yes.
And I do not take that for granted. It was
That's
very,
true.
very helpful. My kids, I would not say they are babies. The last one is 10 years now.
Yes.
They have also been very supportive.
Yes.
I remember when I first started my PhD,
Yes.
my last born was just about 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, but they have been very supportive, especially when I was away from home.
Yes.
They were very supportive because of the many hours in class, many hours doing research, even many hours at work.
Yes.
They understood me, and they were very, 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 very supportive. They were not giving me a lot of pressure. They
Yes.
basically accommodated my situation, and they have been very supportive in my career. Like
Yes.
I would say, my son and my daughter, they are my best, some of my best friends that I have.
Yes.
Like this particular year,
Yes.
I decided that I would be dropping my daughter to school every morning,
Yes.
and that is from January. Instead of
Yes.
using the
The
bus,
school bus.
I would always say that we decided that we will be dropping her to school
Yes.
for bonding. And
Yes.
during that time when
Gives
we
you
are
time
in
with
traffic,
her. Yes.
we really talk a lot, we really
Yes.
laugh. That is the time it really helps you to even know your kids much
Yes.
better, in
Yes.
a much deeper way.
Yes.
You really even understand their talents,
Yes.
or you basically understand your kids in a much better way when you really
Spend time.
spend time with them. That
Yes.
was not possible when I was in paid employment.
Yes.
But this kind of setup now gives me a
Opens
lot
you
of
up.
time
Yes.
to basically interact with my family,
Wonderful.
which is something I really do not take it for granted.
Yes.
Yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yes. And even my larger family
Yes.
have been also very, very supportive. My
Wonderful.
extended family, very, very supportive in
Wonderful.
this journey. And I would want to state that my wife has also been very supportive in the setup of that consultancy. In fact, she's the one who does most of the administrative work, most of the marketing. She's the brain behind all that. So she has been very, very supportive in that particular area.
Great job, great job. You're doing so well, and thank you for speaking to us today. It's been very inspiring listening to you and having that very strong finance lecture on finance. What would be your parting shot before I ask you to give a word of encouragement to our viewers?
Okay. What is my parting shot?
Yes.
Okay. Something I always encourage. I learned it very, very late in life.
Yes.
It's about commanding your morning.
Commanding your morning.
Commanding your morning.
Yes.
Very, very important. I always remind even my students that it is always important to command your morning.
That's
even
true.
my kids,
Yes.
I always tell them to command their morning.
Yes.
Because the morning normally comes. The day normally comes empty.
Yes. Yes.
So it is basically you to
Yes.
program it
Yes.
by commanding
Yes.
it.
Align it.
Align it
Mm.
to what you want, the desires of your heart. And it is very, very important. It is basically written in Job.
Yes.
Job, I think Job 28. It's very, very important that you command your morning.
Yes.
You basically you need to basically say some declarations.
Yes.
Even in the morning, you say
Yes.
that today I'm going to be very productive.
Yes.
I'm going to be impactful.
Yes.
I'm going to be successful.
Yes.
I'm going to make a difference in life. That is very, very important because your lips are very, very powerful.
That's true.
I learned that very late in life, but I can say that your lips are very, 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 very powerful.
Yes.
You need to command your day.
That's
you need
true.
to program it. You need to declare that and declare that every evil to move out of your day. That is very, very powerful.
Wonderful.
Very, very powerful.
Wonderful.
And I would like us to practice that.
That's true.
Yes.
That's very true. It's very scripture what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Scripture says, Proverbs number 18, that the power of life and death is in our tongue.
Yes.
You combine that with the scripture in Job that you said. In that scripture, he was asking, is it you who commanded the morning? But he gives actually the concept
Yes.
that we can command the morning.
Yes.
You wake up your morning before you get frustrated, before you get anxious, before you get worried.
Yeah.
Decree and declare what you would like to see in that day, the fruitfulness of that day, the abundance of that day, the protection of that day, the wisdom of that day, the networks of that day, so that even when you pick your phone, you don't just call everybody there is. You command those that will receive your phone calls or the phone calls that will come in, that they will come to do you good and not evil. So that's absolutely beautiful. I know there are people on the other side of the camera watching and they've been blessed by what you're saying, but they're discouraged, they're feeling hopeless for one reason or the other. Some things didn't go well in their lives. Maybe they are at the place where you were 3 years ago when that redundancy letter came and you felt so unprepared. I want you to take a moment and give them a word of encouragement. This is the Beacon Encourage, and you don't finish until we've given a word of encouragement. Just to speak hope and to speak a word of encouragement and peace in their hearts that they can be able to do what their life has been assigned for. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Pastor D.
Yes.
A word of encouragement is that there is hope. There is hope, and we should not give up.
Yes.
We should not give up. I have just said earlier that God always provides
Yes.
at the right time,
Yes.
and that can only happen if you have faith.
Yes.
So faith is very, very important. We need not to lose faith.
Yes.
We need not to lose faith in God, especially even when you are going through challenges. Don't lose hope. Don't
Yes.
give up on God. I
Yes.
think the right word is we should not give up on God.
That's true.
God has put you in that particular position, has allowed that situation to happen because of a reason.
Yes.
Most of the time, situations happen in our time because of a reason. God wants you to learn something.
Yes.
God is basically purifying you so that He can use you for His glory.
Yes.
So I think challenges, they do not last forever.
That's
It
true.
is just a season of preparation. Normally, I have learned to accept that when you go through challenges, it is basically a season of preparation.
Yes.
What is important is that when you go through a challenge, make sure that you learn from that particular challenge. You
Yes.
become a better person.
Become a better
And
person.
most of the times, challenges will always make you become a better person.
Yes.
Actually, I'm a different person from
Yes.
the person I was in 2018.
Yes.
And that is because of some of the challenges that I went through.
Yes.
So let's basically have faith in God. Let's know that seasons don't stay forever.
Yes.
God has put you in that season for a purpose, and it is basically a season of preparation.
Yes.
And your moment of glory
Yes.
will come very, very soon.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
And another
absolutely-
important
yes.
thing I would want to really
Yes.
encourage parents
Yes. Mm.
is we should learn to bless our children.
Oh,
We
yes.
should learn to bless our kids.
Yes.
I remember when we were growing up,
Yes.
that was a very, very strange
Yes.
concept.
Yes.
Tulikuwa tunaambiwa wewe hauna akili.
Yes.
Wewe hauna akili.
Yes.
We used to be called all sorts of words.
Punda.
Yeah, but I think it is unaitwa ng'ombe, unaitwa punda. But you know, when you do that to your kids,
Yes.
because your kids normally look at you as their role model.
Yes.
So basically, the things that you keep on telling them, if they are negative,
Yes.
they start believing in those things.
Yes. And that's what they become.
And that's what they become. Mtu anakuwa mbaya in future because yeye ameambiwa yeye hana akili.
Yes.
So they start living the things that you tell them. So it is important that we encourage our kids.
Yes.
We tell them that they are blessed. We tell them that they are intelligent.
Yes.
They are very, very confident. You give
Yes.
them positive words.
Yes.
You give them positive words. You tell them they are gifted. You even tell them that they are very beautiful.
Yes.
You tell them they are very handsome.
Yes.
That is very, very important.
That's
Very,
true.
very important,
That's
especially for self-confidence
Yes.
of our kids when they grow up.
Mm.
Because confidence is very, very important in life. For you to
Remember, you talked about managing perceptions.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So we need to basically ensure that we give them positive, and we always encourage them. Even when they're not doing well,
Yes.
just encourage them, let them know that they can improve. There's always an opportunity to improve.
And they can do better.
They can do better than that.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's been so fine. We appreciate you. Thank you for gracing the Beacon and Courage. Those were great words of teaching and inspiration. I want you to just look in that camera and pray for us. A quick word of prayer, and then we call it a day.
Okay. Thank you very much. Everlasting Father, we thank you for this day.
Yes.
We thank you for this moment that we have had. It has been a very fruitful moment.
Yes, Lord.
And that has happened because you have been with us, O dear Father. Father, we want to say that whatever we have learned during this session, may it be impactful, especially to our viewers.
Yes.
May it make a difference
Yes.
in the lives of our viewers.
Yes.
And let it enable us move from one level to the next.
Yes.
We thank you, Father, for everything that you have done. We give you all the glory, we give you all the honor, because we pray, believing and trusting in Jesus' name.
Amen. 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 Thank you so much. Great words of encouragement and inspiration there. To our viewers, I'm glad that you have been touched and been blessed. I hope that makes a great, great difference in your life. This is the Beacon and Courage. Thank you for receiving us in your house. Remember, we walk by faith and not by sight. And as a beacon shining Jesus light wherever you may be. Today, for all that you have learned, I know that you will be able to seal all the loopholes. Don't let your boat sink. Don't let your financial boat sink. Develop the budgeting skill. Make sure you don't lose money when you invest. And like he said, the second rule is that you don't forget the first rule. And I pray that you stay strong and highly favored. We love you and we celebrate you. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.